Hey, I feel like we need to take a deep breath together before we get into this video. I especially need to take a deep breath before I get into this video because wow. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jade, better known as the co-host of Blame It on the Stars podcast and astrology podcast, or known as Astro with a 0 instead of an O, Jade on Twitter, and thank you so much for being here. Literally, I am so shocked, like to the point where this morning in my meditation, I literally was sobbing the whole time. Like, I literally want to cry right now. Oh, I'm such a water sign. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, welcome to my brand new channel that started pretty much literally a few days ago. I'm Jade and this is my YouTube now. We talk a lot about meditation, spirituality, astrology, veganism. I don't even know because it's new and we're figuring it out as we go along. And today I'm going to talk about how to get into meditation, how to start your meditation journey, how to start your meditation practice. Because I tweeted a thread about my 30 days of meditation and I did not think anyone was going to read it at all. And then 100,000 likes happened. And now we have 500 people here on this YouTube channel, and my last video got 1,000 views and I didn't even think I was going to get even 10. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe and like this video. It really means the world to me, to the point that I cried in my meditation. So if you want to make me cry even more, please subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into the video. I have my iPad with all my notes. So if you saw the last video, then you know that I meditated for 30 days and had a very life-changing experience. Most of you came from Twitter and read that thread. But after that thread, I was getting hundreds of DMs asking how to get started with a meditation practice, and I'm only one person. It is very hard to address everyone in the DMs, so I will have a Twitter thread that will go along with this as well, but I wanted to make a video so I could address everyone's concerns because I want people to start meditating like immediately, and I want people to reap all the benefits immediately. And I know it's scary and I know it's stressful and I want to answer everyone's questions. So this is the follow-up to my last video. So if you haven't watched it already, please do so you can understand why we're here, why this matters, and then we'll come back to this one. But in case you've seen it already, let's get into how to start your meditation journey. So the first thing is that it is so important that you let go of expectations, specifically the expectation that you have to think about absolutely nothing. When you go into meditation, and a lot of people were quote tweeting and saying to me like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to just think of nothing? Like, am I supposed to just like have no thoughts? Like, how do I do that? How do I get started if like I don't know how to think of nothing? Like, I can't just lay there in silence. I don't know how to do it. And that's like a totally normal thing to think about. And it's so important that when you get started on your meditation journey that you let go of all expectations. Specifically, even people were asking like, oh, do I do it for 20 minutes? Do you do it laying down? Do you do it guided? Do you do it like in the morning? Is there a set time? That are all expectations. Because you think when you go into meditation that you have to do everything like perfectly. You have to go and, sorry, I like keep adjusting myself. You have to like go and like sit in like your perfect posture with your eyes closed and your back against the wall for 20 minutes. And you think that that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. There's no one size fits all approach to, anyway, sorry about that. That was my Amazon device speaking to me. But there is no one size fits all approach to meditation, and the most important way to get started is to simply just get started and to not think about, you know, doing it right, because there is no right way to do it. And I hate to be that person who says like there's no right way to do it, but that was that one point that I talked about. It's so important to let go of perfection, let go of expectations, and figure out just what works for you. It's going to take a while for you to figure out what you prefer. If you are a morning meditation person, if you're a sleep meditation person, if you are a walking meditation person, you won't know until you try. So in the beginning, it's going to take a lot of trial and error to figure out what works for you. And if you're like sitting there and you're like, well, how am I like gonna even know? Like, there's so many options, guided ones, and I'll get into my recommendations, but sleeping ones, walking ones, I tried a whole bunch before I figured out what worked for me. I know a lot of people were also asking, it sounds so narcissistic saying like, I know a lot of people are asking me. I know a lot of people were asking me like what meditation I did, and I have been following the Sanctuary Challenge, which is a free challenge on Instagram. Again, not sponsored at all. It's just something that really helped me. It's like a 30 to 60 day challenge where basically you meditate every day, drink a lot of water, eat healthy, schedule in some me time, get some exercise in, and pretty much just do that. It's free. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to check in anywhere. I have a little tracker that I can keep track of, and that meditation is a guided meditation, and I very strongly recommend it. It was the most transformative experience with that meditation, and I'll have the link below. And it's 20 minutes long. You listen to his voice and he pretty much guides you through it, you know, connecting to your breath, the affirmations, and it is very powerful, that meditation. So if you don't know where to start, I'm going to suggest that, but if not, I'll get into some more other things. But yeah, no, the most important thing is to just try it every single day and know that it's going to take time to figure out what works for you, and it's going to take time for you to reap the benefits as well. The next point I have is that the goal is to step back from your thoughts. So it's totally normal if you have a lot of thoughts in the beginning. Eventually you kind of go from thinking about thinking, because I know that that was something that happened a lot with me, and something that I had mentioned when I was in my meditation. I'd be like, oh my God, like I have so many things that I have to do, like my calendar, like, oh my God, I'm thinking about thinking, oh my God, like I need to stop thinking, like let it go, let it go, let it go. Now I'm thinking about letting it go. Like that's so normal. And in that meditation too, the guided one, he like says like, it's normal if thoughts occur, just let them happen and don't fight it. Let the thought come and then let it go. And it's very hard to do at first, but the more you think about thinking and the more you resist it and tell yourself like, no, I shouldn't be thinking, no, I shouldn't do that, like the more you're going to continue to beat yourself up and not want to practice it. You have to be in your own head saying to yourself like, it's okay if these thoughts appear, it's okay if these thoughts are there, they are not my thoughts, they're just here, they don't define me, and then they just pass by. It takes a while though, and I promise you, if you're sitting there and laying in your meditation and you're thinking to yourself like, why am I still thinking about things? That's so normal. Don't worry about it. Just let it happen and continue to practice every single day, because it gets better with time. You're not going to be perfect at it immediately. I know I had said in my previous video, as a Capricorn rising, I always was expecting myself to just be amazing at meditation, to just be amazing at everything, and it would stop me from wanting to do it. But the most important thing was to try. And some days, you know, some days like you're gonna have a great perfect meditation, and some days you're literally gonna be thinking so much about whatever it is that you have to do, and that's fine, because the beauty is in the work. It's showing up for yourself. And I didn't have those realizations until I took a step back and thought about why I was thinking so much, because I would lay there and I would feel guilty. I'd tell myself like, no, I need to get up and write things down. No, I'm gonna forget something. Like, no, I have to do this. Like, oh my God, like what if I end up being late for work? Like I had so many thoughts. And then it took a minute of me recognizing that I was always thinking those things to be like, wow, why do I think this way? Why am I so concerned about being perfect? Why am I so concerned about getting things done? And that's when I started to realize like, wow, I am a product of just like hustle culture, and that's not okay. And your realizations will be different for you, but you won't have those moments where you realize things until you just continue to do it and to practice. Like I keep saying that, but like the more you do it and the more you don't resist, the more you start to wake up and the more you start to realize. It won't happen overnight. Like I promise you it's not going to, but it'll take time, and just do it every single day. So yeah, I mentioned eventually you do go from thinking about thinking to why are you thinking to not thinking at all, and then to just purely visualizing your own thoughts. It's like they like exist and you just are observing them. I don't know what this is, but that's what they are. These are the thoughts, and they kind of just come and go and come, and it takes a minute, you know? It's fine. It's okay. You're thinking a lot. Just let it happen. Don't beat yourself up. I promise it'll be okay. And if it doesn't happen, tomorrow's a new day, a new chance for growth, a new opportunity. Let's move on to the next thought. Oh, someone had mentioned, like, how do you do this with ADHD? And I recently was diagnosed with ADHD, and to give you, like, the whole time, I filmed this video, I'm like, if I don't have my notes, I'm not gonna know what to talk about. So, mood. But one thing that was happening for me is I would start to be like, well, I'm going to forget what I just remembered, and I have to write it down now, or I have to do it now before I forget. And yeah, it's definitely hard. Like, especially if you're someone who literally has to write down everything in order to remember it. I would be like, I have to put it on a post-it or else it's gonna be gone. Like, it's hard, and you have to just say to yourself, like, it's okay. It is absolutely okay. It's fine. If you are someone who really struggles with ADHD, I would suggest maybe trying a walking meditation or a shower meditation, something where you're multitasking, because I find personally with my ADHD, it's easy for me to stay invested in something if I have something else going on. So shower meditations were really great for me. Walking meditations were really great because it's hard sometimes to really just get into your head and to think like that. But by having something else to do, you're really able to sort of fully zone in and hone in. But again, whatever works for you. For regardless of whatever your circumstance is, to remember the power of affirmations. And again, that guided meditation that I did had a lot of them in there, and I think that that's why I did so well with it. But a lot of these affirmations that I would recite to myself would help keep me invested, because if you find that your mind starts to wander, the goal is to eventually notice when your mind is going to wander and to reel yourself back in. So some affirmations that I would say to myself are, if it's that important, the thought will find me later. And that was so scary, but I was trying to put so much trust into myself, and that was helping me feel more confident, feel better. And I would say to myself, and at first I didn't want to believe it, I would say to myself though, like, if it's that important, the thought will find me later. If it's that important, the thought will find me later. And then just try to let it go. And then I would say to myself, like, if I was thinking so much, all that matters is that I'm trying. All that matters is that you're trying. The beauty's in the work. You're not going to be perfect at it. And I would say that to myself anytime I started thinking about a lot of different things. You know, all that matters is I'm trying. And again, in the meditation, he would say to always come back and say to yourself, I am here and I matter. And that was one of the most powerful affirmations I have ever used, I have ever recited. And the importance of saying that to yourself just on a day-to-day basis is insane. But when you're laying there and you're starting to feel guilty about everything and you have all these things to go on, to just come back and regularly say to yourself, I'm here and I matter, it makes you want to stay in the meditation, stay in it, stay invested. Similarly, just for today, I will not worry. Or just for this moment, I will not worry. Just for this moment, I will not worry. I would say that to myself too if I started getting stressed out or freaking out. And those affirmations really do work. They really do help. It's crazy. You can trick your brain into thinking anything by saying it to yourself over and over again. But again, the beauty's in the repetition and in trying. Reel yourself back in with an affirmation. Whatever affirmation works best for you, you know, it varies from person to person. And as I said, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to meditation. And with that being said, your practice can change every day. So again, we need to let go of that whole idea of perfectionism and recognize that some days what you need is going to be different. There were some days where I only did a sleep meditation because I didn't have time in the morning, or I didn't wake up, early enough. Or there were some days where I did, again, like a walking meditation. If I had a long walk, I would play a walking meditation. They have a whole bunch on YouTube too. And some days I did long meditations. I did, well, I'll get into my recommendations a little bit later, but I did some other ones that were really long and required you to write down and journal after. Those were great, but definitely hard to find time for, because it's like you're committed for like at least 40 minutes at that point. 20-minute morning meditations, 5-minute ones. I know that like the Headspace app has a whole bunch of different short meditations. It really mattered. Like, it really changed. Some days where it was in the shower. Some days, like I said, I was literally on the train. Some days they were 5-minute meditations. Some days they were 10. Some days they were 20. The importance was staying adaptable and staying open-minded and staying flexible and recognizing that all that matters is that you made time for yourself today. And it doesn't matter if it's 5 minutes or if it's 20 minutes. Again, by just regularly showing up for yourself and letting go of perfection, it starts to happen, and it's okay. It's okay if your routine changes on a day-to-day basis. It's okay if your meditation practice changes on a day-to-day basis. And through trial and error, again, you figure out what works. You figure out if you're a morning person, a night person, sleep person, shower person, walking person. You'll figure it out. It takes time. But it's really important that you just stay adaptable, especially people who are like, oh, I don't have time. You can make time. If you have time to watch this video, you have time to do a meditation. And even if that meditation, like I said, is only 5 minutes, you found time. And that's all that matters. It doesn't have to be perfect. Trust me, I keep saying that. The next thing that I said is, oh, someone said, how do I fully get into the zone? And to do that, well, from when I was in yoga teacher training, I don't teach yoga anymore, but we talked about meditation, and the first step was to like acknowledge how you're physically feeling, you know, noticing sounds around you, sensations, and then starting to count your breath, you know, taking an inhale for 4 counts and exhaling for 4 counts. And then eventually getting into your thoughts, getting into observing your thoughts. That was sort of the route that we would go about. And again, that meditation that I did follows that sequence. I've noticed. I was like, very yogic, no wonder. So you'll find that a lot of meditations do that, but definitely start off by observing how you're feeling, counting your breath, and then going into an actual meditation. Some people are asking too about music. You can do it with music. You know, I wouldn't do anything with like lyrics really. I would personally try to stay with like, you know, spa music for the most part. That's what I really liked doing, especially when I was in the shower. Oh my God, that hits different. That is a unique experience. It is, the vibes are truly immaculate when you play spa music in the shower. Strongly recommend that one. But yeah, anyway, I digress. Like I said, don't beat yourself up for not being good at it. Oh, someone said too, how did you start to notice like what your body was feeling? And just by like laying there, so that's another thing too, you could do it seated, you could do it walking, you could do it laying down. You'll begin to notice, you know, just by practicing being mindful and observant slowly. It's not going to happen immediately, how your body's feeling, and then you can sort of go from there. If you're experiencing any tightness anywhere or any, you know, issues, you can try meditating in a restorative yoga pose. I'll try to insert some pictures here or something of some poses that I recommended. I did a heart opener quite a bit and a hip opener, and that really helped. But if you like Google restorative yoga postures, there's a whole bunch you can meditate in if you'd like. Like I said, there's tons of different meditations you can try. My recommendations, let's get into it. Obviously, the Sanctuary Challenge meditation is the one that I was practicing with, the one that I found to be the most helpful. In the past, I have done the Deepak Chopra meditations. I know that he has quite a few that you can pay for. There's some free ones on the Chopra app. He has one with J Balvin. It's in English and in Spanish as well. Similarly, I also know that there's a ton on YouTube. I did a few random ones on YouTube. Also, the Daily Wellness playlist on Spotify has some like little short meditations in there from Headspace. I've done some from the Shine app. Personally, was not a fan from the Shine app, but those have really good short ones on there if you're looking for something that's like not very long. There's a ton of different options. The sleep meditations I found were all on YouTube too as well. I pretty much changed it up, kept some variety going on there, but the one that I mostly did was the one from the Sanctuary Challenge, which again, I'll put the link below for. So post-meditation, because a lot of people are asking, oh, what kind of playlist were you listening to? And I guess I didn't explain this very well in my thread, but the media you consume after meditation is so important because you can be in this really blissful, zen, relaxed state and then snap out of it and then go onto your busy life and forget everything that happened. So I really strongly recommend following up your meditation with something else to help keep you in that headspace, to help keep you in that zone. After meditation, I would either play the Daily Wellness playlist on Spotify, or I built up my own custom playlist that had songs that kind of embodied what I was trying to manifest or visualize for myself. I would listen to audiobooks. Sometimes I'm currently listening to You Are a Badass. I'm only 3 chapters in, so I don't really know that much about it, but it seems pretty good in my opinion. I recently did the 7 spiritual practices, or 7 spiritual laws, again, Deepak Chopra, The Power of Now, The Untethered Soul, The 4 Agreements, all about love. I can do a book thread or video one day, but there's a ton of different really good self-help audiobooks or just books that you can read in general that I felt helped keep me invested in keeping it in the zone. Similarly, sometimes I would journal. Some days I would just leave myself an audio, like voice memo, because once my finger was broken, couldn't really write that well. So do audio memos if there's something I wanted to remind myself or remember later. Or I would write down little post-its. Again, if you saw, I don't feel like turning my camera again, and stick them on my mirror with an affirmation or something I thought of during that meditation, just to remind myself when I came home and looked in the mirror. Or podcasts too. I really have been liking, I just started We Met at Acme. I know that one's kind of popular, but I just recently started listening to it. Good vibe so far. I also have a podcast, as you may know. It's called Blame It on the Stars. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It's an astrology podcast. So if you want to listen to me talk after your meditation, I'll also leave the link below for that. And also one of my good friends has a podcast called Unwinding. I'll leave a link for that too. She's great, super inspirational, strongly recommend that podcast as well. But just moral of the story is the media you consume after your meditation is super important to help keep you in it, keep you invested, and keep the good vibes flowing throughout the day. And the last thing I have to say on this is that the beauty is in showing up for yourself every day. You really can't expect perfection. I think that's the moral of the story here. I've been saying that a lot, but you really can't expect it because it's not possible. And it's okay if some days are different, but you should be proud of yourself for trying and putting in the work, because you won't know unless you try. You won't know until you're consistent with it. And consistent doesn't have to mean 20 minutes, perfect posture, back against the wall, whatever. It could be laying down, it could be in a yoga pose, it could be walking, it could be wherever. It's okay. What matters is that you're doing it and you're making time for yourself. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you all so much for being here and for listening to me and for subscribing and for all the love on that thread and everything. I really hope that this video has helped you and inspired you and gave you some clarity that you need to start your meditation journey. Keep me posted if you do start meditating and let me know what your findings are. I literally cannot, like from the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank you enough, because I was so scared to post this video and I genuinely thought no one would watch it or no one would care. And I'm gonna go before I start getting emotional, but anyways, subscribe if you want. I hope you do. Let's be friends, and let me know in the comments what you want me to talk about next, because we're here, we're doing this, we're vibing, we're making mistakes in public, we're living and we're learning, and yeah. Okay, bye.